Hi, my name is Brianna Heroff, and I'm here to give you information about DNA evidence. In 1986, DNA became known. It was first discovered for only genetic testing at the time to help determine who's a child's biological parent. In the 1990s, PCR DNA testing came around, and it was for paternity testing using the cotton swab of the mouth. They had several different kinds of DNA testing: blood typing, serological testing, HLA testing, RFLP DNA testing, PCR DNA testing, SNP testing, and NGS testing. In the 1920s, scientists identified 4 different blood types in humans: A, AB, B, and O. In the 1930s, scientists discovered other proteins on the surface of blood cells that could be used for identifying people. In the 1990s, PCR DNA testing replaced RFLP testing for routine relationship testing. In the early 2000s, scientists were able to combine thousands of SNP into a single test. NGS, which is known as next generation sequencing, combine thousands of parallel sequences, is the newest technique available for genetic analysis. I will now inform you all how DNA came about and the different types of DNA that has been presented over the years and the great aspects DNA has in our world. The effect of the discovery of DNA on scientific and medical progress has been enormous, whether it involves the identification of our genes that trigger major diseases or the creation and manufacture of drugs to treat these devastating diseases. Due to our discovery of DNA, our ability to actually diagnose diseases early on has been vastly improved. While the discovery of DNA has perhaps impacted medicine the most, its contribution to other areas is still similarly significant. Paternity cases have had an enormous impact on families and children around the world. Through the assessment of DNA, the paternity of a child can be identified, which has a significant effect on the child's upbringing and his or her life. DNA has been notably important to the field of forensic sciences. While the discovery of DNA has been a scientific significant effect one in the 20th century, it will continue to revolutionize medicine, agriculture, forensics, paternity, and many other important fields in society today. DNA can be used to identify criminals with incredible accuracy when biological evidence exists. By the same token, DNA can be used to clear suspects and persons mistakenly accused or convicted of crimes. In 1999, New York authorities linked a man through DNA evidence to at least 22 sexual assaults and robberies that had terrorized the city. In 2002, authorities in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and Fort Collins, Colorado used DNA evidence to link and solve a series of crimes, rapes, and murders perpetrated by the same individual. DNA is generally used to solve crimes in one of 2 ways. In cases where a suspect is identified, a sample of this person's DNA can be compared to evidence from the crime scene. In cases where a suspect has not yet been identified, biological evidence from the crime scene can be analyzed and compared to offender profiles and DNA databases to help identify the perpetrator. Crime scene evidence can also be linked to other crime scenes through the use of DNA databases. A sexual assault nurse examiner worked with the victim and was able to obtain biological evidence from the rape. This evidence was analyzed. The resulting profile was run against a DNA database, and a match was made to the man's DNA profile. DNA evidence is generally linked to DNA offender profiles through DNA databases. In the late 1980s, the federal government laid the groundwork for a system of national, state, and local DNA databases for the storage and exchanges of DNA profiles. This system, called the Combined DNA Index System, CODIS, maintains DNA profiles obtained under the federal, state, and local system in a set of databases that are available to law enforcement agencies across the country for law enforcement purposes. Currently, all 50 states and the federal government has laws requiring the DNA samples be collected from some categories of offenders. When used to its full potential, DNA evidence will help solve and many even prevent some of the nation's most potential. DNA evidence will help serious violent crimes. In conclusion, throughout the years of using DNA, it has been proven to be used in several reasons, from genetic testing to criminal care testing. DNA has become very important in today's world. DNA was able to prove a person's sickness, whether your child is yours, and also been able to prove whether a person's committed a crime or not. DNA is used in many different ways. You can capture DNA through blood, cheek swabs, hairs, bone, teeth, fingernails, tissue from internal organs, muscle, skin, and through fingerprinting. Thank you for letting me give you information about DNA evidence.